You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And, today we're going to do nothing but talk about the Cleveland Browns because there's nothing going on with the Titans or the Chargers.
Well, we could spend half an hour talking on the Cleveland Browns.
Well, actually, they are going to come up.
Well, on that point, I just wanted to say, why couldn't Josh Gordon hold off on the weed till him and Manziel could have hooked up in Cleveland? That would have been gold. Because now they're hanging out partying, and neither of them is with the Browns. It would be great. Can you imagine Manziel partying in Cleveland with Josh Gordon? TMZ would have had to set up a satellite office in Cleveland.
That's true. They could contribute to the economic revival.
Fuck. I was thinking of that the other day when they showed Gordon and Manziel partying at Coachella together. It's just bizarre. But anyway,
so
I didn't even know you were bringing that up. So
there was a little bit of Titans news.
Well, not really. Just touch. Biggest trade since what? The Rams traded down with the Redskins so they could draft RG3.
Oh,
the biggest,
easily.
Number one swap. Not the biggest one in history. That's the Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
And did get to pick the Saints had to get him.
That's true. I'd kind of forgotten about that trade. I mean, I would call this one of the biggest trades in the last 25 years.
Yeah, but that's Williams one will never be. You can't top it. They trade like 8 picks for him, so you can't really top that.
Well, that was complete lunacy. I mean, I don't buy it, but I've heard a lot of people who are trying to justify this from the Rams' perspective. And I still think they're just trying to make it sound like one team wasn't completely destroyed in this trade.
Well, but that's the thing with trades like this. When it's picks, we can't judge it totally until 5 years down the road.
No, but the potential is there. I mean, this has got to be at least 80%, just in terms of the number of quality picks you get. It's got to be 80% in favor of the Titans.
Right now, yes. But if the Rams get that quarterback, if whoever they draft, if he's a franchise quarterback, they win. They win the trade.
I wouldn't say they win the trade. That would make it a good trade. I think the
win
best
it because
possible
it's the hardest
outcome.
Position to fill.
Yeah,
it's the hardest position to fill.
But you didn't need a quarterback, so what do you lose?
No, but if Cleveland's not going to trade with you, you only have one chance.
Well, okay, and I do want to bring that up right now. Based on the fact that no one alive thought the Titans were going to take a quarterback, I was reading today, Cleveland's open to trading number 2. Why the hell didn't the Rams talk to Cleveland?
Maybe they did. The Browns are drafting a quarterback.
You think?
Yes, they are. Because the Chargers are picking 4, and they don't need a quarterback. They're not going to draft a quarterback unless one of the top 2 are there. So, Dallas, they're next, I think.
No, but okay, the Titans aren't. Just stick with me here. So the Titans aren't. So if the Rams desperately want a quarterback, number 2 is as good as number 1. The only way that doesn't work is if the Titans are able to find someone else. And these quarterbacks are run-of-the-mill draft prospects. Do you see an Elway there?
No.
Marino? Do you see...
But I don't know enough about him to even say.
No, and your philosophy on draft picks is volume. And,
yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to deal with you, by the way. The Islanders look like they might advance. The Cubs are good. And the Titans just made the trade that it was in your fantasies when you went to sleep at night.
It could make us legitimate again in the next 2-3 years.
Yes,
Where
easily.
picking 1 to 3 for the next 4 was a very real possibility. Because we have so many holes. That's why I love the trade. The Titans we should actually mention which picks they get. 15 pick this year from the Rams. They get 2 second-round picks from the Rams, a third-round pick this year as well, plus the Rams' first-round pick in 2017, and another third-round pick in 2017. And the Titans gave up the first overall pick this year, a fourth-round pick this year, and a sixth-round pick this year. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, that they won 80% just looking at it now, but a franchise quarterback to me changes all that if they get it. Like, you remember me last year, didn't really want Mariota or Winston, and they both had good rookie years.
Yeah, though neither is a franchise quarterback yet, but there's
Mariota. They will be.
The first is definitely encouraging. The first year,
but when you look at what their body of work that first year, it wasn't Michael Vick, Vince Young, that type of year where they did it as much with their legs as with their arms. They actually played the quarterback position and scrambled when they needed to.
Yes,
it wasn't like, I can't read a defense, so I'm going to run. It was, okay, you could see it's there, and I was wrong on Winston, I'll admit it. I didn't think he would be as good as he is. But Tampa's got something going there if they had better owners. And this is the first, God, I don't even know when the Titans had, it's got to be a decade since we had a front office that seems competent in what they're doing.
I mean, it's their first move, but their first move was smashing it completely.
Well, no, but he has the right philosophy.
Yes.
He has the right philosophy for a salary cap era. Draft picks have more value than the first overall pick.
Particularly when you at least have a very promising prospects for your franchise quarterback. This changes entirely if there isn't the potential in Mariota. But I think clearly that potential is there. I mean, he's got to stay on the field. And, but that's something you can address with draft picks.
But you
in
can't,
terms of protection.
Right, but you can't predict injuries, so you're not going to draft based on that?
No, absolutely. No, you've got the guy with the talent who seems to have the confidence of both his teammates and the front office. So there's no way on earth you were going with a quarterback at number one. So that put you in a perfect position to move that pick. I just can't believe what you got for it.
And for what they were talking about taking first overall, wasn't enough value in taking a tackle or a safety or a corner.
No, but I'm pretty delighted because that tackle is likely going to fall to the Chargers.
Yeah.
And
who's picking third?
Chargers.
I thought they were fourth.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you're going to get them. Yeah, Cleveland, I would bet a lot that Cleveland's drafting a quarterback.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I'm certain the tackle's coming to San Diego, is unless Cleveland is able to move it. But, I mean, the dance partners left the dance, right?
Yeah.
The Rams.
Yeah.
Unless Cleveland can move that to someone who really wants one of these quarterbacks who, again, you're right, we don't know. No one ever knows. But these guys are not Andrew Luck. They're not Peyton Manning. They're not even Michael Vick. Right? I can't see anyone coming there to take Cleveland's pick. And they've got Joe Thomas at left tackle.
But if you get...
So they're not going to take a tackle.
But if you get a quarterback in the Flacco mold or the Matt Ryan mold, you're doing pretty well for that trade. When you look at what St. Louis, LA has for quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
That's a pretty steep upgrade. So,
is there anyone in the league, in your opinion, worse at quarterback than the Rams were? I can't think of anyone.
Jesus.
Philly?
Yeah, that was pretty bad last year. But he
But they
still put up
extended
numbers.
Bradford, right? So they
Yeah,
weren't
he
going to
put up
trade with
numbers.
that kind of number, and they picked up Chase McDaniel from KC.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. No, there's not many teams worse than the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, so perfect, Boyd. And here's what I was getting at is you're a bitter man. Like, I don't know how you're going to wear success here.
Well, I'm not counting on it yet. That's why I said 2 or 3 years will be legitimate. Because we got a lot of holes.
But the day the trade happened, we talked, and you brought up a number about teams that had as many picks in the first 67 or so?
76.
76. Okay, why don't you explain that?
Yeah, there was 3 teams in the last 25 years have had that many picks in the top 76, and all 3 teams made the Super Bowl within 5 years of the trade. So one of those teams was Dallas. I can't remember that was the
fallout of the Herschel Walker screw job.
Yeah. So, and I can't remember the other 2 teams. But it bodes well. It's no guarantee.
Oh, it's absolutely not a guarantee, but
it all depends what they do with the picks. And then I was just reading before we started that Bleacher Report had a report that Titans are trying to trade back into the top 10. So I don't know if that means, well, no, that tackle will go to you, in all honesty, unless, because they were talking about one of those quarterbacks might fall all the way down now. If the Chargers think they can get a quarterback, because they have to start thinking about it.
Yeah, no, but that's where you roll the dice. That's where you roll the dice on one of the guys who goes late first round, early second round. You don't worry about that when your O-line is a shambles, and if you get a good tackle and you can move King Dunlop, hopefully to the right side. I've never seen him play on the right side, but he's a good tackle if he can stay healthy. Then we can deal with Fluker. But if the Chargers fix their O-line, the offense fixes 75% of their problems.
Right, but they haven't had the greatest luck with offensive linemen staying healthy.
Well, they haven't had luck with anyone staying healthy. But ever since they fired that quack doctor, that team is a fucking MASH unit.
But I know you need good left tackles. But at number 3, I don't know if the value's there for San Diego right now.
Well, I think it is because it's their biggest position of need, really.
Yeah, but offensive linemen are easier to find in the 3rd round than quarterbacks. That's the other problem. Like, I know Brady's drafted in the 6th round always comes up. How many other guys going late do anything of note in the NFL? We always hear during the draft. I get it,
but we've still got 3 years to worry about.
No, I know.
You don't waste a top 5 pick on a quarterback. I mean, even everyone talks about Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers fell to, pick 15?
No, he was in the 20s.
You know, you deal with that, but when you have Favre, even though Favre's almost done, that's where you take your quarterback. And then Favre whined about it, saying, "Oh, that'll help." But,
no, but here's the thing.
If there's a decent quarterback that you like the looks of, that's where you take him.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing. If you're competitive, you're not planning on drafting at the 3rd spot again. So you're planning on making the playoffs and drafting the back half of the draft. You don't want to be there at the 1, 2, 3 spot like the Titans for years and drafting quarterbacks year after year, and they don't work. If you think there's one there, the Chargers are taking a quarterback.
No. No, I strongly disagree. Not with the
Because
money.
if you've
not
got
with
3
that.
years left with Rivers,
Yeah.
and this is just, I guess, my philosophy. I would take, because the offensive linemen, you see third, fourth rounders make the Hall of Fame. You don't see that out of quarterbacks very often.
No,
So my
but
personal
are either of
preference, I
these
would go
guys
with
that
quarterback.
good, Boyd? That's fine if you're seeing.
Well, no, but that's with every quarterback draft, Marlon. You don't know.
Oh, I know,
But
you
I
never
know from
know. But
history-
you don't throw it at two guys who were fucking mediocre. I don't even understand why anyone particularly wants either of these guys. Carson Wentz, fine, but he wasn't even playing that high. Why? If you're seeing a blue chip guy who's played against strong competition, your argument's totally sound.
Yeah, but Joe
these
Flacco
guys-
changed all that. Flacco changed all that.
And do you think Flacco's good?
He's got a Super Bowl. He's bet okay. If you had the top 15 quarterbacks in the league, he's in the conversation.
Yeah.
As bad. That's my point. Is if you think there's someone there with a couple of years of grooming behind Rivers,
But where did they take Flacco?
can be that good first round.
Yeah, but where in the first round?
No, I know, but
He wasn't the third pick overall.
No.
They got kind of lucky because, I mean, I know Baltimore wasn't picking there. I don't know exactly where he came, but you don't do it. You don't go all in on your deuce six and a hunch about a quarterback when you're still not committed to giving up on your current roster.
But every quarterback's a hunch because there's the top pick
It
has been
is.
shit.
So you take your
15's
hunch.
been shit.
Well,
But you
Barnwell
lose your-
did a big
you lose your
piece.
job.
Actually, the top 5 picks at every position, underwhelmed. Barnwell did a big piece on it, went through it by position by position, and center seems to be about the strongest place to go in the early draft.
Yeah.
The history is not good, and like this fits your overall philosophy. But you take a first-round quarterback, a guy with physical tools and talent. Rivers has missed exactly, I think, 0 games in his career. So it's not like you really are looking for an injury backup guy. You take an early second-rounder, a guy with talent. If you're going to roll the dice, and I think they should, but you roll the dice later in the draft than number 3.
Yeah, well, you keep and lose your job based on your quarterback drafting abilities, basically. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So if they like this guy, whoever your GM is, they're going to draft him at 3.
I don't even think they spend a lot of time looking at him. I think they did like Mariota a bit. But if they were really going to look for a high draft pick, they would have done what you thought they might have done last year and traded Rivers to the Titans.
Then they should trade down. Even swap with the Cowboys.
I think you took the only partner at the dance, Boyd. The Cowboys, maybe. I mean, I would love a trade with the Cowboys and pick up an extra second.
Because the Cowboys are talking like they need to draft somebody behind Romo.
They sure
to be ready in a couple
as
years.
fuck don't need a tackle. They don't need anybody on the line.
But that's what I'm saying. There's other teams below them that they could pick up an extra pick or two if that's who they want and not drop that far down in the draft.
That makes a lot of sense to me. But
if they're not
what
going
it
to
gets
take
down
quarterback.
to, I mean, you were right. We had this discussion a year ago. It's volume. You were correct.
Because nobody fucking knows anything about anybody. Because
Ultimately,
we drafted...
yes.
No, but we drafted Chance Warmack at 8 because he was a beast in college at Alabama for their run game.
Who the fuck
and the
is
same,
that?
And the same with what's his name from Michigan, Lewin, Taylor Lewin, or Lewan, I guess they call him. But they just haven't. It hasn't gelled. They have decent games. Warmax plays right side.
Okay.
Luan was the left tackle last year. And they were high first-round picks.
Okay.
Just not... It's not... I know it's a safer pick going with the offensive linemen because they're still serviceable, even if they're not as good as you hope they would be. But it's not a lock like everybody used to make out. Oh, yeah, go with the safe pick. Go with a D lineman or an offensive lineman. Because they work out more often than the skill position guys at that spot in the draft.
Yeah, and by Barnwell's piece, that's not even necessarily true at all. And he went back a few years. His breakdown, the piece is interesting, though it's interesting and also boring as fuck.
No, I know the stats won't bear it out, but that's how they think. It's safer to take a big guy like that because you can plug him in somewhere and hide him.
Yeah.
Because these GMs like the cushy job. They all talk about how many hours and this and that. Fuck, it's a pretty cushy job. You watch game tape and you talk on the phone.
I don't understand why the job most of these guys do, why they say it's 80. With the coaches, some of the freaks, the quants, so to speak, among the coaching staff, yeah, I can see it eating up your time.
But it's 24/7 job now, a coach.
Oh, yeah, as a coach. But the front office shit, there's only about 3 windows. You hire people. And,
Yeah, you contract negotiate, which is usually by the lawyers, and then you sign off on it. You've come up with a number with your cap specialist. You don't even have to worry about that anymore.
Yep.
So your cap specialist goes, here's what we can slot this guy in at. You negotiate to that point. And then if it gets to that point and you got to go above it, then you have to make a decision, well, we'll have to trim somewhere else. It's like buying a house. What do I want? What do I need? And what's my budget? And if you like something bad enough, you'll forego something else to get that. And that's what these GMs, it's become down, they're money managers now more than actual personnel. And most of these guys know talent evaluating. It's like I said, it's like throwing a fucking dart because you can't project somebody at 22 to what they're going to be at 26, 27. It just does, there's no way to do it. They can all say they're great, and like what's his face in Baltimore.
But his track record's pretty good, long. Yeah, I know, long and pretty solid. Ozzie Newsome.
When you look at the ones that he's most noted for, Ray Lewis, he fell in his lap. Like it wasn't like they didn't think that he was gonna be there. So, and if they were drafting top 5, they wouldn't have taken Ray Lewis either.
No.
So, just flip the draft when you think these GMs are geniuses for picking guys like Ray Lewis or whoever was in New England when they took Tom Brady. They just okay. Oh, he's next up on our board.
Yeah, like, in the 6th round, it's like, yeah, why not?
No, but if you
develop him behind Bledsoe,
if you flip drafts,
it was just we'll roll the dice on him.
If you flip drafts and go, okay, if this team was picking here, would they have picked that guy? Because they won't.
If they were geniuses, they would have taken Brady in 4. Like, with all the questions around him. He was probably a 4th-round quarterback, like, when he came out, by most assessment. The fact that he fell to 6, but they found other people in 4. Belichick is amazing as a goddamn coach. We both agree on that. But as a drafter, he's frankly been pretty goddamn terrible.
Well, yeah, they just cut their 1st-round pick from 2014 this offseason.
Yeah, I mean...
So...
It's about... Okay, what it gets down to for a GM, I think, is like any other head of a corporation. It's how you create your employee structure. If you have solid employees top to bottom and can take that information and digest it, you will be marginally more successful than people who do a terrible job at that. The one thing that equates to long-term NFL success really is continuity, and stability.
Yeah, but that comes down to one position in NFL.
Quarterback, yep.
Yeah.
But
when you look at the coaches...
only argument I really have with you here is the Chargers don't use number 3 on a quarterback at this stage.
Regardless of that fact and how that plays out, show me how many of these genius coaches that won all these Super Bowls, what quarterbacks they had. Fucking most of them are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Montana, Steve Young, Terry Bradshaw.
We can go to Shula.
Manning,
Shula who won. No, Shula won with hacks, and Shula didn't win with one of the greatest of all time.
But who was the...
But he's the anomaly. That's all I'm saying.
But who were the quarterbacks in the early 70s that you can name off the top of your head that were great?
Well, and the position wasn't quite that important.
No.
It was still there. I mean, let's face it. The Cowboys became the Cowboys because of
Staubach.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, we can
look at
talk,
the great
and
teams.
you know, and anyone who's listened to this knows my affection for Dandy Don Meredith, but Dan Meredith didn't do it for the Cowboys.
No. And look at what the Cowboys became with Randy White after Roger Staubach. They were competitive, but any of the what we consider the greatest coaches of all time had great quarterbacks. So, as much as you want to talk about drafts, and if you get lucky enough, yeah, you could tell Elway was going to be good. Marino, well, not even Marino. Well, Marino got fucked over because of the drug rumors, and I don't even know where those started. It's the only reason he fell to Miami. Because he was a top 10 pick before the draft, and then rumors started circulating that he had a drug problem, and then he just plummeted.
You saw the ESPN 30 for 30 on that, right?
No.
Okay, there's one about that draft day with Jim
I know.
Kelly,
I just haven't
Marino.
seen it.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
Fucking fantastic.
But I remembered when it happened, Marino was like the first version of Aaron Rodgers. Just plummeting in the draft, and they couldn't believe it. But these GMs claim to know all the talk on TV and radio that they're this smart, and here's how we fucking figure out who we're going to draft, and all the tape, and there's no rhyme or reason to who's drafted where and how good they're going to be.
No, there isn't. There's a pattern. Like, you could put it on a waveform and you have a better chance of success if you have 3 picks in the first 3 rounds rather than having 0 picks in the first 3 rounds. I don't think you would disagree with me.
No.
In general, that leads to superior success.
But when you look at all these teams like Cleveland, Tennessee the last decade, Tampa, Rams, all these teams that have been shit for a long time, and the draft is supposed to benefit them because they pick earlier, they haven't improved. If GMs and coaches knew what the fuck they were looking at, somebody else would have taken their place by now. It just doesn't work.
No, you've got to catch that special athlete. You might have with Mariota. I mean, I still think I'm going to look back and see that I had one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Phillip Rivers, and we did fuck all.
Well, when you look, Seattle is probably the best team of the last 5 years through the draft and free agents to build a team.
Yeah, but you're telling me they didn't get bullshit lucky with Russell Wilson?
Oh, they did. But I'm look back over draft picks, unsigned free agents, they did the best work.
Yep.
Because they've had the most success.
Well,
I'm not saying they had a better system of picking. They got lucky, more lucky than other teams. Because you draft a 5'11" Doug Flutie clone.
And that's all I thought he was going to be. And
Well, that's basically all he is, but...
No, he's Doug Flutie with a better brain on the football field. I don't see Russell Wilson get scared feet and throw it right into the chest of a linebacker the way I saw Flutie do it in San Diego.
No. But he's better than I thought he was going to be, but you don't get down 35-0 in a playoff game. I know they came back, but...
Well, and they shouldn't have beaten Minnesota. I mean, as the rough, tough, supposedly the most physical team out there, Minnesota should have won that game.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind. But that's the way it goes. And, I mean... Talking about next year's picks that you picked up from the Rams.
Oh, it's going to be a great pick. Their first-round pick next year is going to be great.
That defense can be good, though. I mean, there is talent on that team.
No, but Marlon, we're going to get a top 15 pick.
Well, I thought the hilarious line I read from that Barnwell thing, or one of the Barnwell pieces I read, who's still my favorite football writer, but he just said... Let's assume the Rams go 8-8, and with Jeff Fisher as their coach, that's a pretty good bet.
I was just going to say that, and I haven't even read his stuff. I was going to say they're 7-9 the last 2 years, so that's why I said we're going to have a top 15 pick. And if they start the rookie quarterback that they draft, which they'll have to.
Oh, they absolutely will.
That was part of the reason they made the trade too. They had to generate interest in a new market. That's part of the reason Tennessee got what they got.
Yes.
In a normal year, if they're in St. Louis, they don't make that trade.
I still don't see why Cleveland doesn't give them, take slightly less and make that trade. This is where...
Well, here's why. Because
I'm thinking your front office actually showed some aggression and got the fucking deal done.
But that's part of it. The other part is it still, if they trade with Cleveland, that still leaves them open to somebody jumping them.
So that means they're absolutely committed to one
guy.
One of Carson or Goff.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
See, I know I won't need to know these names in 5 years. Neither of these guys is doing fuck.
But that's why. Because somebody could still jump them, and then you've moved up and traded all those picks, and you still don't get the guy you want. That's where you lose.
Yeah, you're right. I don't disagree with that. But
so that
Cleveland is once again left in the cold. Because I honestly, I'd be shocked if they can find any trade partners at this stage. And I'm still shocked by this trade. I mean, when I called you the day it happened, I just said I didn't think anyone did this anymore. I thought the RG3 situation, how that all worked out for everybody. I thought that we would never see a trade of this magnitude again for the number one.
No, but see, you forget about ego. Because every coach and GM thinks they can reinvent the wheel. Well, that won't happen in our system or our organization. What happened to RG3 in Washington, where he makes the playoffs his first year and is not even dressed for most of the games in his third year. So they all think, well, that won't happen to us. There's special circumstances with the Rams this year, because I honestly think if they were still in St. Louis, they don't make this trade.
Yeah,
this is a trade.
It's a flash trade on a certain level. Yeah, okay.
They're taking a calculated risk. They made a big splash in a new market. They're going to have the first pick in the draft. Have hype around a quarterback all through camp and the preseason. They're going to generate. They had to generate interest in LA, and they've done it. So they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish up till now. Whether it works out for them in the end, like I said earlier, we need 5 years. And same for the Titans. it looks like a great haul now, but if we screw up those picks, we look like the idiots.
If you screw up the picks, you look like the idiots anyway. So that really doesn't matter.
Well, no, but if for some reason the Rams are in the playoffs before the Titans, we've lost that trade.
I disagree.
Well, this trade is supposed to make us better.
Like, when's the next time the Titans play the Rams? Because, God damn it, I would love if you guys trolled them like Fisher did with Washington. Dress everybody you took and
the
put them out as captains. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, I hope they all make the team. But that's
if you get
picks,
3 starters and 1 Pro Bowler, I think you win this trade.
Yes, but only if it works with all the other. Like, if in year 3 we're not like preseason co-favorite to win the division, it's a loss.
Well, okay, and really, but that just means that you're a disaster because you're in the weakest division in football.
That's my point.
You're in the weakest division in football. If you don't make the playoffs in 2 years, that just means your organization is a disaster.
But that's what I'm saying. It looks great now.
But what more can you do for your organization? If you can't draft anyone or you just run into that horrific string of bad luck, and we've all been there, like at a poker table or wherever it is, that you're doing everything right and, a fucker draws to an inside straight against you. That can happen.
No, I know all that, but I'm just saying, if the picks we take don't significantly improve us, this trade means nothing.
True. The Chargers made the big trade for Rivers. Chargers have made a few big trades, and actually it's worked out kind of 50-50. In most cases.
That's my whole point.
Right?
Like, if that safety turns into a Pro Bowl or Hall of Famer and we draft shit,
yeah,
it's horrible.
I have one more question, and then we're probably done for the night. So, you've got this plethora of draft picks. What do you think are the biggest areas that you would like to see the team address?
Secondary? Number one.
So, at the corners.
Yeah, we need secondary help.
Who's your safety? Like, you let Griffin go and
we got Wilson from Arizona as a free agent.
Right, playing behind Mathieu, and as you've said before, he filled in pretty well for the Honey Badger.
Yeah, he had 6 picks last year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and who's our other safety? I don't even think we have one. We've got Parrish Cox on one side. Or was he our safety?
Nobody but Seattle has 2 good safeties, right?
Yeah.
So your second safety doesn't matter that much. Your cornerbacks are weak.
Yeah, but Wilson's basically the same age as Griffin, so he's not there for long.
Okay.
So we need secondary help. We need another corner on the one side because Bleedy Ray Wilson and whoever else they threw out. We got McCourty on the other side if he's healthy this year. He hardly played last year, so we've got him and Parrish Cox, but we need to draft a young corner because the corners they threw in when McCourty was out last year just got torched. So we need secondary help. We need to draft a safety and a corner. And I can't believe I'm saying this. We still need offensive line help, and they'll probably draft another pass rusher. Because we've got receivers, we're pretty good. Like youth, I don't know what happened to Kendall Wright last year, injuries. And that's partly because of a rookie quarterback, put him in a couple of bad situations, and he got rocked. But we've got Beckham.
Yeah.
Dorial Green Beckham looks pretty good. Got Kendall Wright.
Yeah, if he can keep his head straight. I'm actually kind of a fan of Green Beckham.
And so we got Justin Hunter. We've got one of the best tight ends in football. We're actually quite loaded at tight end. We had pretty good tight ends last year. So I'm guessing we go secondary, another offensive lineman, a pass rusher, and maybe a linebacker, depending on who's available when they're picking in the second and third round. In the first round this year, I would guess secondary. Because if they ended up hanging on to that pick, I think they went with the corner.
Okay.
So that's just me, but who knows? They've drafted 2 of the last 3 years. They drafted offensive linemen with their first pick. So, and Mariota with the other one. So, and
Mariota didn't look well protected last year.
No, and if they're trying to trade,
point.
But if they're trying to trade back into, well, part of that was Mariota too, hung on sometimes too long, but a lot of the time he'd take 2 steps back and there'd be somebody hitting him. But if they're trying to trade back in to the top 10, my guess is it might be with somebody like Dallas or whoever's in the 4 spot. Because if they know Cleveland and the Rams are going to take quarterbacks, the Chargers take the tackle. Who's sitting at number 4? The guy they wanted all along. They get the corner.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason they trade back into the top 10 is to get that corner. Because they worked him out in Tennessee. Because they know the tackle's not going to be there. If what you're saying is right about the Chargers.
Well, yeah, and I think they're in 3. I assume
they're
you
3
can
or
tell
4.
how much I pay attention to the draft.
They're 3 or 4. But I'm just going to look that up quick.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, actually. But no, you're right. I mean, the Chargers aren't going with a corner again. I mean, I know Brandon Flowers was a disaster last year, but I've not given up on him. He's still pretty good for another 2 years, or should be.
Oh, yeah, it's Chargers, Cowboys.
Okay, I said that with authority earlier, and then all of a sudden I had doubts.
So it goes, yeah, Cleveland, San Diego, Dallas, Jacksonville, Baltimore, San Francisco, Philly, Tampa Bay, New York, Giants are your top 10. So if the Titans are going into this draft at 15 and they're trying to move back into the 10, in the top 10, my guess is they're talking to Dallas.
And Philly.
Or San Francisco, because Jacksonville won't trade with them, I don't think. But if they move back in and only have to give up like one of the second round picks they got and maybe the third they got next year from the Rams to move back into the top 10, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
If we get our corner.
If you do, but as you said, no one knows. Volume, volume, volume.
No, I know, but if he's still trying to get inside the top 10, that's who he's going after. Because the tackle won't be there. So, but if it costs him the 15 pick, a second round from this year, and the third round from next year, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Because we'd get who we wanted. Now, I'm just going... I know the one guy's name is Larry Tunsil, but I can't remember if he's the corner or...
That's the tackle.
Okay, I'm just pulling up a mock draft just to...
Larry Tunsil is the tackle. I can't recall the name of the corner everyone's.
I can't either, and I read about him on Twitter for a whole day when he was in Tennessee. And you think I could remember his name? But we're not draft experts. I know the talk was the Titans were either taking the corner or the tackle before they made the trade. So my guess is they're going after the corner because the tackle won't be around. Because like you said, after corner again. So, these fucking websites nowadays take so long to fucking load. Fuck, they're faster on my phone. So let's see. They got Rams taking Goff, Browns taking Wentz, Chargers taking Tunsil. Whoops. And now it jumped. Dallas taking Ramsey. So that would be where the Titans are going. Or maybe they're looking at that pass rusher from Ohio State, that Joey Bosa.
Your rush is good. I think that. Would be a waste of resources.
I know, not really. When you look at, okay, how did Denver win?
Yeah, I suppose, but.
And how did Seattle win? Because to beat the good quarterbacks, you have to have a good pass rush. So I could see them going for Bosa. He's been in for a workout too. And if you could get him, see that, if they get back inside the top 10, that brings in Philly, San Fran, Baltimore, the Giants. Because Bosa's not going that high.
Okay, now we're getting too deeply theoretical for two guys who don't know it.
No,
anything.
But
I was just curious about your directions.
No, but I didn't even thought of Bosa being there for the Titans. But I said defensive line, offensive line, and the secondary.
A myriad of options.
Bosa's a top 10 pick.
All right, let's wrap this, Boyd.
And he played at a good school and a good conference, which helps, which I like more than, well, actually, I'd rather see them draft out of the SEC. If you could draft all SEC guys, you got a better chance at having a good pick. All right. If you want to check out the podcast, you can listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device. Site offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines for any updates to our blog posts or when a new podcast is available. Our personal Twitter accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd. Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to send us an email, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. And that was episode 5 of our off-season podcast. With a surprisingly optimistic and cheerful Boyd.
Degenerate fucking gambler.